The first thing I learned about alien royalty was this: if their armor is cracked, they don't call a servant. They call a human. At least, that's how I, Elias Ward, Terran combat engineer, 3rd class, ended up kneeling on the polished obsidian floor of the throne hangar of Valkyries, tools spread around me, while the most feared alien queen in this sector stood perfectly still above me. Queen Zyra Thalen of the Karvesh, conqueror of 7 systems, supreme commander of a warrior species raised on gravity-heavy worlds and ritual combat, a being whose name alone could silence war councils, and whose armor, ancient, living metal bonded to her physiology, had been shattered during the last battle. It was my job to fix it. The battle over Valkyries Prime had nearly gone sideways. A pirate coalition, stupid enough to believe the Karvesh were weakened, had struck the capital orbit. They learned their mistake quickly, but not before one lucky plasma lance cracked the Queen's ceremonial warplate. Karvesh techs tried to repair it. They failed. Their armor wasn't just equipment. It was tradition, biology, and history fused together. Improper handling could cause pain, or worse. Humans, however, were different. We didn't grow up with sacred metals or bio-linked war suits. We approached problems with curiosity instead of reverence. We touched things others feared touching. So they called me. "You may begin, human," Queen Zyra said, her voice calm, deep, and resonant, echoing through the hangar. I swallowed and nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty." Up close, her presence was overwhelming. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her posture effortless, powerful. Her armor, dark crimson and black, etched with glowing sigils, was fractured along the chest and shoulder, revealing layers of living alloy beneath. Heat radiated faintly from it, like a resting beast. My scanner chirped softly as I ran diagnostics. "Damage is extensive," I said, forcing my voice steady, "but repairable. I'll need to reline the inner lattice by hand." The Karvesh guards shifted uneasily. Hands-on work was intimate by their standards. Zyra noticed. "Proceed," she said simply. "I trust you." That trust weighed more than gravity. I set my tools aside and placed my gloved hands carefully against the fractured plates, applying gentle pressure, coaxing the metal back into alignment. The armor responded, flowing subtly beneath my touch. Queen Zyra inhaled sharply. I froze. "I'm sorry. Did that hurt?" "No," she replied. It surprised me. Her bioluminescent markings pulsed faintly, then steadied. I continued. Minutes passed in tense silence, broken only by the soft hum of my tools and the distant engines of warships outside. Sweat trickled down my back. Not from heat, from awareness. I was inches from her. Too aware of how still she stood. How she didn't pull away. How her gaze never left me. Then, without warning, the ship lurched, residual turbulence from a docking cruiser. I stumbled forward. Before I could react, a strong hand closed around my arm. Queen Zyra pulled me closer, steadying me effortlessly against her. Her other hand rested briefly at my back. "Careful," she said. My heart hammered. I apologize, Your Majesty." She did not release me immediately. Instead, she looked down at me, head tilted slightly, eyes glowing with unreadable intensity. "Your hands tremble," she observed. "Only because I'm trying not to damage royal armor," I replied honestly. A pause. Then she smiled. It wasn't sharp or cruel. It was amused. "Do not be shy, human," she said softly. "You work with precision. I will not break." The words sent a ripple through the chamber. The guards looked away out of respect or discomfort. I cleared my throat and resumed my work, acutely aware of how close we now stood. Her presence was grounding, powerful, yet strangely patient. As I worked, she spoke again. "You did not flinch when first summoned," she said. "Most do." "I've faced worse than angry queens," I said before thinking. Then winced, respectfully. To my shock, she laughed, a low, rich sound that echoed faintly. "Tell me," she said, "what could be worse?" "Human expectations," I answered. "We're taught to fix impossible things." Her eyes narrowed, not in anger, but interest. "You see my armor not as sacred," she said, "but as a challenge." "Yes," I replied, "and challenges can be solved." Something shifted in the air. The repair neared completion. The living metal fused seamlessly under my guidance, the fracture lines fading until only faint scars remained, marks of survival. I stepped back, exhaling. "That should hold," I said. "Stronger than before." Zyra looked down at her restored armor, flexing slightly. The plates moved flawlessly. Then she looked at me. "You have strengthened more than my warplate today, human." I blinked. "I did my job." "You did more," she said. "You treated me not as untouchable, not as a symbol, but as someone who could be wounded and restored." She stepped closer again, intentionally this time. In Karvesh culture, proximity was a declaration of trust. "Tell me your name," she said. "Elias Ward." She repeated it slowly, testing the sound. "Elias." The way she said it made it feel important. Days passed. I expected reassignment. Instead, I was summoned again. And again. Not always for repairs. Sometimes for consultation. Sometimes simply to walk the battlements with her while she observed her people. The galaxy noticed. Rumors spread. Why did the Queen favor a human engineer? Why did she dismiss advisors only to keep him nearby? The answer came during the ceremony of renewal, when Queen Zyra stood before her people and spoke. "In battle, strength is proven," she declared. "But in peace, wisdom is revealed." Her gaze found me in the crowd. "I have found wisdom where I did not expect it." Murmurs rippled. She extended a hand toward me. "Human Elias Ward," she said. "You approached our greatest symbol without fear. You repaired what others could not. You reminded me that power is not diminished by closeness." My breath caught as I stepped forward. "Stand with me," she said. I did. And the galaxy shifted. Later, alone in the quiet of the hangar, I asked her, "Why me?" She considered. "Because you did not kneel in fear," she said, "nor reach in greed. You simply helped." She stepped close once more, resting her forehead gently against mine, a Karvesh sign of deep respect. "Do not be shy, human," she whispered again. "You belong here." And in that moment, I understood something profound. Humanity didn't conquer the stars with firepower. We did it by daring to touch the untouchable, and treating even queens as something worth repairing, not fearing.